Start off first here, as you mentioned, Junmar Fajardo. Junmar Fajardo being back makes San Miguel a completely different team. We see that in the records. Went out with Junmar Fajardo. They're barely a 500 team throughout the past few years. What does he bring back, even if he's not completely healthy at the moment?
Well, just his presence, you have to account for Junmar Fajardo. He's obviously the how many time MVP. He's the biggest threat in the PBA. He's really a game changer. You put him in, your chances of winning increase. I mean, he looked like he didn't miss a beat last night against Terra Firma. Of course, they didn't have an import in Lester Prosser, but still, for a guy who hasn't played that long, he looked so confident. It's like there was no hesitation in any of his movements, which is a good sign for San Miguel and not a good sign for the rest of us in the league.
Yeah. Were you shocked about that though? That he looked like he didn't really take a break?
A little bit, because sometimes guys are a bit rusty.
Right.
Actually he was in uniform for a few games already.
Yeah.
I saw him in our last game. He gave me a big hug. I was like, and he was showing me his scar here and his throat. So like, wow. I thought he'd play, but I guess they weren't rushing him back. That's how confident they are. But the scary thing is, he's paired with an import who's also so good in passing.
Yes.
Their interior game will be even better. And Junmar has just been expanding his game. Before you could just dare him to shoot from the outside. Now you can't do that. He can hurt you inside, outside, and he's always a handful. You have to find ways to box him out and to grab rebounds over him. But he's tough. I mean, he just takes their team to a different level.
Well, nakita natin kanina, you mentioned the assists of Devon Scott, their import. And do you think that, remember, initially, in their first import, they got rid of him because of the fact that they had him for a Junmar Fajardo and he couldn't function without a Junmar Fajardo. How do you see this fit working with Devon Scott?
We were watching Scott even without Junmar, and just the way he was passing with the bigs of San Miguel was already something impressive. And the guy could just play. His feel for the game was pretty good, so that's why I think he'll fit well with Junmar. He doesn't seem like the selfish guy who just wants the ball. He knows how to get everybody involved, and he knows how to pass to the big men, which is what you need when you play with Junmar.
All right, big game also for Jericho Cruz yesterday, which broke that game wide open.
Very true.
But looking forward, they're at 5-5. What does it increase their chances? Are their chances better? I know they got big games coming up. TNT, Meralco, if I'm not mistaken. What does that bode for them? And for you?
It's great for them. As I said, bad for us. We were hoping we could catch them without Junmar. Then now Terrence Romeo's activated too. So like, man, they're going to be complete.
Right. Does it change the equation though?
Oh, for sure. You have to really game plan for Junmar and spend a lot of time. The coverages are really tough. That's tough.
All right, so we're looking forward to the games tomorrow, and there's going to be a Blackwater Bossing against the Rain or Shine game. Blackwater not really in contention, not really in the race for the playoffs, but Rain or Shine are interesting. I know you don't want them to do well for very selfish reasons here, Charles, but then you take a look at that. What can we expect from a Rain or Shine team that's just hungry to make it to that dance?
Well, this is a game they have to win, and I expect them to win fully. Look, they better not waste this advantage. They had a great chance against Converge before a late collapse. That was a heartbreaker for them. But now they're facing a Blackwater team that's pretty banged up. They've been playing without JV Casio, without Baser Amer, without Toy Rosario. Even my good friend Gabanal is a little bit under the weather. So they're going to be missing some key guys, and that's the perfect opportunity for Rain or Shine to get back on the winning track.
Okay, so speaking of players that they will be missing, for the players who will be there for both teams, who will spell the difference, in your opinion?
Well, I'm very interested to see how Pearson, the import of Rain or Shine, will play out. Just because in his first game against Bay Area, he didn't look good at all.
No, not at all.
And then the last game, he looked decent, and it's interesting because he's much smaller than their previous import. But maybe that's a type of import Coach Yang likes. Maybe he's more familiar with the team. But of course, for Rain or Shine, it's always been their guards. Mamu's playing great. Asistio, Nambatak. I mean, if the guards and their weapons click, they're tough to stop because their bigs are all solid all the time.
Interesting to see whether or not Pearson lives up to his billing, because if you look at his stats prior to even coming here to the PBA, he's supposed to be a very good three-point shooter. So let's see whether or not that will show next time. Hinebra versus NLEX is the other one. And of course, Hinebra is still trying to battle for a twice-to-beat advantage. They practically need to sweep the remaining games to secure that, and they're going up against an NLEX team who haven't looked good recently. It sounds like a trap game for some people, knowing how the forms for both teams are going on. Do you see it that way, or do you think Hinebra just has it in them?
Well, I've always been afraid to play teams that are struggling because they're due for a good game. NLEX, let's face it, they haven't had a good conference. They've been banged up the last few games. Matt Nieto missed a couple of games. Now Kevin and Las missed their last game. I think Kevin will play already by tomorrow. Earl Clark's been up and down, but you never know. If NLEX gets hot, they can beat any team also. Of course, I think NLEX lacks the big men, but they're just on a roll right now. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna lose, but I don't expect them to be honest. I mean, Stan Hardinger's got hurt, but that win against San Miguel was really impressive to me. That was a game they lost. They found a way to win that, and you're like, wow, this team's poised to make another championship run. Malonzo's great. Jeremiah Gray slowly finding his way. Of course, Scotty Thompson, the MVP, is always going to be there. So they're stacked, and they're playing at a high level right now.
But is there still space for NLEX? Is there still time for NLEX? Is it too late for them? And I guess a follow-up question to that, Coach. What's the selling point for this matchup? If you were to pitch this game, why should fans tune into this matchup?
Two great imports, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Brownlee, obviously, I don't think fans need reason to watch Hinebra because they always watch Hinebra. But NLEX has an explosive import in Earl Clark. We've seen him have some ridiculous game. Last game he had, 45 and 18, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
If he gets hot, he can really lift the team by himself. And if the NLEX guards get hot, we may have a really good ball game.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, especially with Clark, because I remember NLEX, one of their wins was against TNT, and Earl Clark just exploded, and they took down a team that they should have lost to, at least on paper. But Charles, before we go right now, you take a look at all the matchups, you take a look at the race to the playoffs. Do you feel that it won't be resolved until the final day? Because it's starting to feel that way, at least for the ones who will actually make it to the playoffs.
I think so. There will be a lot of ties. I feel the quotient may come into play. Maybe if there's a tie for number 8, there may be a playoff. For us in Meralco, we're thinking we win at least 2 out of 3 would be great for us. If we win all 3, then for sure we're in the playoffs. But we might need some help. Some teams to start losing.
Can I just say that your team hasn't lost since signing our friend Diego Dario as a practice player, and I think that he may be your lucky charm.
I thought you were gonna say KJ McDaniels.
No,
but
also Diego Dario.
Yeah, he's been great in our practices. So Diego's been great.
That's why we haven't seen him in a while.
Yes, absolutely.
It's the only log jam that we like, by the way. The log jams in the team standings. Coach, maraming salamat. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you
being
for having
here.
me too, guys.